right, here we go. That seems shorter than I remember.
Yeah.
That was really fast.
That was weird.
We're live.
Hey! Welcome back, guys. Let's hope this one doesn't get cut out. Oh, good times.
Can I just do a really quick blanket statement for everyone watching or listening after the fact? We're not going to be doing video content anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth the banning. It's not worth the copyright contests, even though we've won every contest.
Yeah,
when YouTube gets to the point where they're like, we're not even going to let people contest it, well, that's when we have to throw our hands in the air and just say, screw it. Like, it's not worth it anymore. So we have imagery, we have photos and stuff, but we're not going to do video, just so you know. So the stream shouldn't be interrupted. If it is, it's because I got a porno playing in the background. That would be why.
Oh, were we supposed to turn that shit off?
I hope not. That's what I'm watching on your end. It's reciprocal. I got mine playing, you got yours playing. We're good to go. How's it going, man?
Well, it's going pretty well. Why don't we introduce the show?
By all means.
Anyways, welcome everybody to the Infernal, or the, oh jeez.
Yeah, that's right. You were good.
Yeah, we're good. We're great. This is a good show today. It's going to be a great show. I'm entirely too sober for this.
Welcome to the Infernal Brotherhoods of the Scruffy Brotherhoods. There's multiple hoods.
There are.
Brothers Hoods. Welcome to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a live streaming Star Wars podcast, video podcast, a podcast that has video, but it's only video of us, not video of Star Wars, because we get copyright notices. So it's a Star Wars video podcast of the hosts who then show still images, which you don't get an audio podcast, so it's still video, right?
There's a reason to look instead of just listening.
You get to see our beautiful faces along with hearing our dulcet
tones. My nice shiny bald head. It's lovely.
Shiny head. So, of course, this is our HoloNet news show. It's a monthly roundup of Star Wars news. Our regular show is on the second half of the month, and those will feature videos of you, the audience, and some of our more famous friends, like the Sarlacc Pit.
Still blows my mind.
And Yoda and C-3PO, who have all come in and given us their own videos or audio clips saying, I am a scruffy looking Nerf herder. You can send us yours too. You can send it to theinfernalbrotherhood@gmail.com, or if you just want to do audio, we'll put a picture up for you and just leave a voicemail at 1-801-899-6168. That's a Google Voice number. No one will pick up, so speak to your heart's content. And we appreciate them, so thank you for considering it. What are we talking about this monthly roundup?
Well, I say we get started.
Hold on, I gotta pause it. Oh, no. Okay, now it shouldn't move. Star Wars Rebels, yeah, the last season, we had actually done an entire show about this. So what is different from our regular show review?
Well, this is just explaining the features, the reason why, even though we all own the series digitally, I have to buy the fucking Blu-ray. Because I'm still a child of Blockbuster, where physical media is important, and especially because of the extras. Like, that's the biggest thing that you really tend not to get with digital content. But yeah, so there's a few cool things. The DVD and the Blu-ray both contain 8 episodes of behind-the-scenes stuff, basically episode recaps. And the Blu-ray itself actually contains a few other things, like it's got an interview with Dave Filoni discussing the Force and its importance to the sagas. Little behind the scenes about the crew and where they came about, the whole idea of the Ghost Crew. They're the really cool one. Like, I'm a sucker for this kind of shit. Like, there's behind the scenes with the composer, like actually discussing inspiration for the cues and everything that he does, and I absolutely adore those kinds of documentaries.
Much more than the Clone Wars. Rebels had a really great score.
Yeah. fucking
And
killer.
I think they've had like throughout the different seasons, they've had multiple people contributing to it in different ways.
Mhm.
But it each episode, much like the Clone Wars, where each episode or each series of episodes that were interconnected had themed, had their own tones, their own, whether it was a monster movie or a mystery or whatever. Rebels did sort of the same thing, where they would have a sort of a genre of an episode, and then the music would then correspond to that genre. And when you got to these really sort of mystical places where they'd go way out into like Zeb's species discovery and finding their new home and stuff, that music was amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I really love it when they get into this stuff too.
Yeah,
I never really done. This is something like, I know there's a podcast about delving into sort of movie score, like film scores, like cinematic scores and stuff. I don't know if there's ever been one that's devoted specifically to just Star Wars content or to Star Wars shows. And that they're not just getting some random person who has a MIDI keyboard player to put it together. It's not like, it's not like back in the 80s. I mean, this is actually really quality stuff that I don't know, you tell me, is the purpose of a score that you do not notice it during the shot, like during the scene, or is it just because it's supposed to blend into the actual scene itself, so you're not like pulled out of it saying, oh my gosh? But I distinctly remember many horror movies and many other movies where I'm nudging my wife saying, did you hear that? Where I am literally pulled out of the movie because I've appreciated the score. How do you think it should play?
Honestly, it depends on what it is. Like, it's hard to just give a blanket statement. Like, there are some movies where, like, it's like It. We discussed this before, but like It, that was the score itself was an extra character in the movie, and it was something that you consciously noticed, but it didn't pull you out of the movie. I mean, there are some movies where it's okay, like just like throwback 80s slasher movies, where it's like just a really cheesy, type song. Like that doesn't take me out of it. That only adds to the camp of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Rebels, definitely it was there. You noticed it, but it was a part of it without taking you out of it and making you pay attention just to the music. It was really, really beautifully done.
I mean, that really is the legacy of Star Wars, though, too, because you have, hopefully, a really great sci-fi adventure script and really great actors playing it out, whether they're voice actors or not, and animated if it's there, or CGI if it's there. But the music has always been absolutely cinematic in nature.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what separates Star Wars from a Star Trek or from anything else, is that it's, you have these serial adventures, and then you have this over-the-top productions, like cinematic sound quality behind it.
Yeah.
Which just elevates the entire experience. I think Rebels did pretty decent justice. I don't know, maybe we've gone a little too far on this sound, but I love it.
No, not at all. Well, that's why there's a fucking documentary on it.
Indeedly do.
Because it's that good.
Yes, absolutely. Well, here's the thing, because obviously the original Star Wars, A New Hope, Episode 4, that was groundbreaking. John Williams did an amazing job with that. And I think that is why, not exclusively, but that is a large part of why that was such a successful first film for, well, it's not first film, but first truly large cinematic scale film for George Lucas and company. So that carried through in the original trilogy. Outside of that sort of, is it a Hero's Fate or the Duel of the Fates? From the prequel, is there any cinematic tracks that stand out in your mind from the prequel trilogy?
Not really.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, I know there's some beautiful music in it, but it never really sort of stood out. And in the Clone Wars, they were just rehashing sort of the established musical lexicon of Star Wars. I don't recall them really going off and doing anything fresh and new. At least that never stood out.
Yeah.
Rebels did. They did create original music that was different in tone enough to make you realize it as you were watching it. That added to the scenes, which was really kind of cool. And now I'm reflecting on the sequel trilogy so far, and I can't think of anything that really stands out. And this extends to
not even the Jurassic Park theme.
That's in a bad way, though. That's not. I was leaning on the good.
Oh yeah, yeah, no.
Oh man, have you seen the new one?
The new one,
the new Jurassic Park.
Oh no, I wasn't even able to sit through the first Chris Pratt one.
Not so good.
Yeah?
Not so good. Really sad. It makes me think of all the original sequels. Sorry, I don't want to digress. So, like Solo, the TV spots in Solo had some great music. Very Western in tone. And just thinking about Solo and Rogue One, the only track that really stands out is, at least in my mind, is it's been so long and I can't remember her name. The Cloud Riders gang leader.
Oh yeah, I can't think of her name.
This is gonna kill me that I can't remember because I really did enjoy that movie. Anyway, whatever her fucking name was, that says something about the show though that we can't remember her name. In the moment and in the weeks following, we were all about it. And now, a month or so later, we can't remember it all. That says something, unfortunately.
Well, you read just as much as I read, so I'm sure that's probably why.
Yeah.
And I usually read like 3 or 4 books at a time, so it's just like a plethora of names trying to get crammed into my head.
That is the hardest thing, I think. But anyway, that chorus track. A lot of people said they hated it. I loved it. I thought it was really great. Yeah, I heard people complaining about it.
Like, everybody that hated anything about that, they're wrong.
I totally agree.
Period.
Just wrong.
Like, there's no excuse at all.
Shame. We know your name. I'm not much of an audio commentary guy, though. Like, I wish I was, and I have listened to commentaries. And I always intend to listen to more, but I actually don't really, I don't. Are you a commentary guy?
Dude, I have commentaries on my fucking phone, so I can listen to them just driving around.
Oh.
That's
an interesting way to do it.
I'm a Blockbuster kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you got an exclusive anything, you just ate it up. Like, I love commentaries.
Interesting. I wish they would release it in podcast form, because that would be brilliant.
Well, the only reason why I have them is just the podcast. One of the podcasts that I listen to, they release commentaries, just fan commentaries.
Wow.
So
fan commentaries.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're talking about doing their own films and stuff too, but they're mostly just fan commentaries. Right. Best one I've ever heard too is a commentary for Sleepaway Camp. Beautiful.
Wait, the old slasher flick?
Yeah.
Really?
It's just a giant dick joke. It's amazing. Actually,
listen to that.
It's great. It's great.
I miss watching horror movies with you and commenting on them.
Yeah, we should do that.
That was a lot of fun. We got to do that again.
I don't even care if we film it.
We probably won't. We may record it, maybe not, but we still got to get together and do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm looking at the other things that are great, and this is one that when you initially sent me these show notes, I latched onto, and that's Dave Filoni discussing is George Lucas's original plans for the sequel trilogy involving his just discovery, his unraveling of what midichlorians, what the Force, what the Wills most specifically are. And I find that immensely interesting because Dave Filoni is very much a student of Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
Like firsthand. And so you can see that in the stories that he told with Clone Wars and then with Rebels. And I'm sure we're going to see that this coming fall and winter with Resistance. So I'm really excited. Like, we should get together and watch that extra if you are actually going to buy this, because I'm not going to buy it. I already bought the series on Apple TV, and it pisses me off they don't release the shit with it.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I'm going to. I mean, fuck. I buy shit that Netflix releases, like Stranger Things.
Really?
I bought that. I can just watch it, but yeah, I'm
It's
totally
a good
totally
series,
gonna
to
get
be fair.
it. It is. Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go ahead and.
Images. Let's
Well,
do
I
that.
mean, we're already talking about it. Why don't we just skip ahead to the Lucas?
Because my images are not. set
Oh
up
yeah,
that
okay,
way.
okay, yes. Then in that case, Adam, this is one that I'm really excited for. Are you scared, Darth Vader? I don't give a shit that it's a children's book.
I fear nothing.
I love children's books because they're fun.
They are.
But this is by an author, photographer, painter, blah blah blah, etc. Adam Rex. It was just barely announced. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun book. It looks like it does a lot of mixed media, sculpting, photography, painting, and then of course writing the storyline. And the premise, from my understanding, is he's hanging out with somebody, and they're trying to find out what scares him, doing all kinds of stupid stuff to make him jump.
Okay, so I gotta unpack this just for a second because there's so much in this that I kind of hate and I kind of love. As a parent, let me stop that really quick. As an artist, I adore children's picture books. There is this vast array of immensely talented artists that illustrate children's books that never get their due because they're children's books and they're not
Stephen
on
Amell.
Yeah, they're not on posters, they're whatever it is. Like genuinely some of the best artists in the world illustrate picture books for kids, and it just drives me crazy. So whenever I get to see a picture book, I used to work at a Barnes and Nobles. I worked in their coffee shop, but every once in a while I'd have to go on the floor, and I just love thumbing through kids' picture books and picking out the best artistic ones and giving them to my kids for whatever holiday or birthday happen to crop up. I love it so much, and that just stems from my appreciation of art as an artist and my mom being an artist, etc. So whenever I see a book like this, I don't care if it's Star Wars, I don't care if it's a kid's book, I don't care what it is, as long as the artwork is kick-ass, I'm in. Like,
dude, it's
sold.
It looks pretty damn amazing from the screenshots that I've seen.
Fun, like just the one we're looking at right now. It's it's fun, a mixed media sort of romp with a really silly story. Okay, so I want to do a little devil's advocate on the other side of this. Because this is what drives me nuts about Disney. When they first purchased the Star Wars franchise, there was a slated series to go out that was developed by Seth Green that was called Detours or something like that. And it sort of made fun in a very Robot Chicken way of Star Wars and Darth Vader and the Emperor and stuff. It was very tongue-in-cheek and just all joke-filled and just a comedy version of it. They squashed that entire series because they wanted to portray Vader and the Emperor and the bad guys in a serious way. And then they release a book like this or the Lego series, which then makes jokes about him again. And you're like, well, you can't have it both ways. Either you have a scary antagonist or you have a fucking joke. And you can't play both sides of that coin. And I was so excited when I saw Rogue One because that was the Vader that I always wanted that I never saw. And then they come out with a fucking kid's book talking about what scares Vader. Are you fucking kidding me? You are training kids to see Vader as just another scared kid. He's supposed to be otherworldly. He's supposed to be like a big bad guy that terrifies you. How can any kid read a children's book like this and then see fucking episode 4 and take it seriously?
Or to watch Rogue One and then be like, what the fuck? That guy's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah, I thought he was scared of dust. Why is he like cutting people down like a motherfucker? Like, I don't know. Like, you just can't have it both ways with the bad guy. As soon as you turn them into a joke, they will forever be a joke. And that was sort of...
I'll disagree with that. I mean, God, I've got the Darth Vader and Son books on my bookcase. I think they're great because they're funny, but in no way did it change my view of Vader, but I'm also a fanboy, so that's probably why.
Yeah, and it's weird because whenever we talk about this stuff, one, we're doing it firsthand experience. This is how I perceive it. But then also we're insane fans. Like we're rabid fans. So much so that we make a video podcast that people can't see because YouTube keeps fucking blocking.
That is true.
And we continue to do it. So we're on one
YouTube,
level.
you can't stop us.
Yeah.
And
Damn the man. There's like our level of fandom, and then there's like the average moviegoer or TV watcher who knows nothing the depth of what we do or even cares. All they know is, well, yeah, every once a year in Christmas I go and see a movie and it's Star Wars with my family and it's fun. Like that's all they care. The story, who cares? Like I enjoy it because it's Star Wars and the music and the action. And so, like, do they give a fuck about that stuff?
I doubt it.
Like I can't tell, and I can't tell if that would even affect them because, like,
well, that's why shit like this exists.
Yeah, and on one hand,
doesn't matter.
This is weird because, like, I love. This is gonna be really weird, people. I'm warned. I wish I had a pre-warning for Adam's about to get weird. I can see.
It's called the opening of the show.
Fair enough. This is revealing. I really like nerdy girls who get naked with Star Wars stuff. There it is. I dig it.
Wow. There's a shocker.
If there's a vagina and a lightsaber, I'm down. If there's a t-shirt that says Star Wars or underwear that says Star Wars, I'm down. I can't help it. That doesn't ruin my Star Wars experience.
No, hell no.
So why would a cartoon or a children's book do it? You know? I mean, they're completely opposite ends of a spectrum. One's okay, so why would I care about the other? And yet, for some reason, I do. I don't understand it.
The funny part with my end of that is, like, I'm all for shit like that, but when there's costume inconsistencies, like, it could be this chick that's just fucking gorgeous. Beautiful corset, beautiful, just everything's beautiful, but she's wearing a ruby stormtrooper helmet. That's all I can see. It's like, God, take the fucking thing off. Spend the extra $20 on a better one.
Not my Star Wars.
Jesus. Yeah, pretty much.
That shit's not canon, bitch.
Or the Fett helmets where the visor's like this. It's like, no, that's wrong. That's your nipples, but that's wrong.
Oh, man. You should punish their nipples for that.
I fucking should.
You should totally punish them. Maybe they just do that waiting for, like, the strong enough Star Wars geek to step up and be like, you've been a bad girl. All right, we've gone.
Yeah, so
Reminds me of a children's book we had been talking about before we started the show. They got my daughter. There's a Halloween, a sort of riddle of guess who this Halloween scary creature is, whether it's a cat or a bat or a pumpkin or, you know, whatever. And it's just so simplistic that it bugs me. Like, it looks like he's kicking it on Dagobah. And he's like, I'm looking for Yoda. Where is Yoda? And these little, like, Yoda's doing, like, some force creatures to fuck with him to distract him or something. Boo woo. Come on.
Well, you don't know. Maybe that's scary in a galaxy far, far away.
Dab him with his own lightsaber if that scares him. That just bugs me so much. Like, this is such a sad, tormented character, Darth Vader, to be put in a position where they're like, are you afraid of ghosts? Are you afraid of zombies? Like, come on. He's watched fucking Darth Sidious in his fucking... This is getting really dorky in my explaining my perspective on this.
This is a Star Wars podcast.
Okay, yeah. He's watched ancient Sith magics, I presume, at least a little bit through Darth Sidious. He is first-hand knowledgeable and arguably one of the most powerful dark side users that we are aware of. But he's going to be as scared of a fucking... a boo-woo sheet, like a Beetlejuice character? Like, come on. Why are you even putting this in a book? Like, I don't. There have to be other ideas that are as engaging for kids to introduce them to Darth Vader. And I don't. What is the ultimate goal? What was the pitch for this? Were they like, hey, we want to make Darth Vader relatable to 3 to 5-year-olds? So, because they're going to understand the complexity that is Darth Vader. So let's make him have the same vulnerabilities as them. Hey, Darth Vader, you scared of the boogeyman under the bed too? Shut the fuck up. Is that your pitch? Like, what's your pitch? What is it? What are they trying to do? There has to be a reason. It has to be a relatable reason, because they can't just say, let's put Darth Vader and compare him to traditional Halloween costumes. Is he scared of them or not? Who would greenlight that? Like, what is the rationale for this book to exist?
It's Disney, bro.
I can't take it. I can't take it. This is not in my world. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know why this exists. I do like the art, though. Look at this guy! Shut the fuck up. And what would Darth Vader do? He would force choke that motherfucking werewolf right... I don't even know what it is. Is it a zombie?
I have no idea.
Is it a werewolf?
No.
Is it a fucking emaciated Ewok? I don't know.
Yes, on Dagobah.
This is Wicket. He's been starving because he's been living with Yoda, and Yoda can't cook for shit. So he's like, "Rawr, please take me away." This is so messed up. No, but he would just be like, "Cut, Dad. No problem. Why would I be afraid of you? I'm a Sith fucking Lord." Like, come on. He is the night. He is the darkness. He's the fucking terror.
Absolutely true.
God damn it.
But that's why we got to buy the book, so then we find out what he's scared of.
I kind of want to buy this book. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm fucking buying it. I don't give a shit. The second I saw that, I'm sitting there scrolling through the Star Wars news feed. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This looks ridiculous. And then start looking at the pictures. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm fucking sold.
What if it's like 25 pages of, are you scared of this? And he's like, I fear nothing. Are you scared of this? I fear nothing. And at the very end, Padme's dead. And he's like, no! He just does the no scream. What if that's how they end this?
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Like, we found what he's scared of. Because that is the only thing he was scared of. That's what motivated him to become a Sith in the first place, was losing Padme.
Yeah, exactly. That's what sent him on the dark side.
The only thing he's scared of. That's it. Not a fucking ghost or I don't know what, emaciated Wicket. Okay.
We'll just say that.
Yeah. Great. This is a great story, though. I am going to buy this book, like, no joke. Is that Dracula?
Maybe.
Blah, blah, blah. Are you afraid of me? And he's like, what are you? Are you like a creature from a galaxy far, far away? Because...
In the future?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you from the future in a galaxy far, far away? Because I fear nothing. Dummy, yeah. I'm a Sith Lord. So much smaller things that bite you. What? So a much smaller thing. What?
I
can turn into a bat. So a much smaller thing that bites you. Okay, but look, go. Shut the fuck up. Okay, no, we gotta move on. I'm done. All right.
Okay, and next one. This one really makes me sad because I straight up fucking lost my copy of Battlefront 2, so I haven't been able to play this just yet.
Wait, how does that happen?
I'm reorganizing my movies and games and stuff, and I have no idea where it is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's because I lose stupid shit like that. But this is cool as hell. So if anybody's been playing the new game or even the last one, of course there's the heroes versus villains mode, and with this now you can do it as starfighters, which previously before all you could do is do different starfighter missions and then hope that you could pilot one of the hero ones, whereas with this now you actually get to just choose which ones you're gonna play as. So it's pretty dope. Instead of having to like fly around and try to find the special coin to turn into the Millennium Falcon, now you can just be like, I'm gonna be the Millennium Falcon.
That is pretty cool.
Wait,
can you have more than one Falcon?
I don't know.
Yeah, because you haven't played it.
Don't have my game. Yeah. I don't imagine you would be able to, just because like the heroes versus villains mode, you choose like it's if I remember correctly, it's like a 4-on-4. So you get to choose one of whatever, and then obviously that hero's gone because two don't exist in the same universe.
Right.
So yeah, I don't imagine you could go head to head like 2 Millennium Falcons. I mean, if you can, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care. I mean, there's more
Yeah.
YT 1300. I think we were just talking about episode 2 before the show, but I think episode 2 intro of Space Battle is probably one. No, Rogue One was actually really good. Anyway, the intro to episode 2 was brilliant as far as space battles go.
Yeah.
Or was that Revenge of the Sith? When they rescue, that was Revenge of the Sith that I'm thinking of. That was great when they rescue this Senator, fucking Darth Sidious, Senator
Palpatine.
Dude. Thank you. Need a hand in my geek card. I forgot Palpatine's name. Yeah, when they rescue him from Sidious, from Grievous.
Yeah.
Greaves. Yes. Fucking Robot Man or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yes.
RoboCop. Essentially, he's RoboCop. That's really what he is. He's like a poor man's Darth Vader of I don't know what's happening right now. Fuck.
Yep.
Hi, people. Star Wars. Okay.
Yes.
Let me start that again. So I used to play TIE Fighter back in the day, X-Wing back in the day, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter back in the day, X-Wing Alliances back in the day. There was another one, I think. Well, maybe X-Wing Alliance is the last one I played. But like, I would play it against my wife. I would play against other friends across the intertubes as they are, all the way back to where it was literally just next to each other. And then console Starfighter games. I love that aspect of the Star Wars universe. It's just so much fun, and it's that true 3D experience without actually being in 3D of you sort of doing your own thing in this open world. That was me piloting, by the way. I don't know if you can tell.
That's how I do it.
Boop, 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 boop. I love it. And then when you have to divert shields from the rear to the front, or left or right, or drop down the shields in order to get your recharge rate up for your primary cannons. I mean, I just love that stuff so much.
Oh yeah. Well, and with 2, they really updated that engine too. Like the first Battlefront, it was kind of wonky. I mean, I'm sure some of it was my internet connection, but yeah, with sequel, it's just so smooth. And all you gotta do is play like a round or two, and everything just becomes a nice fluid motion. It's
and the graphics,
I really want to find it.
The fucking graphics are just incredible.
It's stunning.
I would love to do a little Slave 1. I've always wondered how actually effective in Starfighter combat that is.
Yeah, I haven't played a Slave 1, oddly enough.
Like I've done in X-Wing Alliance, you got to do the episode 6, where you destroy the second Death Star as Lando Calrissian, and you had to fly into the Death Star and everything. Shauna was always best at it, but my wife. But I tried. Not as good as her for some reason. She's a natural pilot, digital pilot. But that was like the coolest thing, because at the time, the graphics were just stellar, and you were recreating one of the greatest moments in Star Wars history at the time. It was just so much fun. To do something like that with modern just visuals would be incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. Like, last time I was playing it, I was an interceptor, and I straight up went through one of the Republic ships. Like, went into the bay and like was flying around and shit. It was
what?
Because I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
Like, you would imagine, just like any other game, you'd smash into some imaginary force field. And no, the forces were down, and you could just actually fly into the ship. It was like, what the fuck? This is the coolest thing ever. And then, of course, you smash into a wall, but god damn it was so cool.
You're like, I was inside. Oh, yeah. I would also like, it seems, fucking Poe Dameron's X-Wing, I just want to fly it. It looks cool. Fucking black TIE
Well,
fighter.
especially with the experimental engine from The Last Jedi. Like,
Is that just an initial booster, like a nitro thing?
basically.
I don't know what else it would be. That seemed like the only thing that it was, but I mean, seeing him in Force Awakens over Maz Kanata's castle, fucking people up, like that was badass.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to recreate that shit. That would be awesome. What do you think of the Kylo Ren's tie design?
It's all
I
right.
can't remember the name of it, but
Yeah, I can't remember either.
it's like a weird extended. I don't like the weird extended. And then in Solo, they had a TIE fighter that had like an extra extended, but it wasn't a bomber.
Yeah.
It was like room for like a computer to help with the pilot. Like, come on, let's just stick with the original because they're great.
Or the Interceptors. I really like the Interceptors.
Interceptors are bad, but that was what Darth Vader's original. His was like the first Interceptor, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, his was basically it was a prototype because unlike other TIE fighters that don't have hyperspace capabilities, his did, and his also had shields.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, so fucking cool. But yeah, that one's it reminds me of a Vulture droid.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely,
but not a cool Vulture
That's
droid.
true. Except it has a fucking crybaby in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fucking toddler in it. Right. I want to play this. Like, I don't own it, and I probably never will. But if you find it, we should get together so I can try it.
Hey, I'm down as soon as I can find it.
I'll just get my ass beat. I will not invite my wife because she would kill me. She's really good at these games. I don't understand why she's good, but she is. All right, let's see the next one here. What's our next story?
All right, so next one. This is the one. Why don't you take over since you had some fun stuff to say?
Okay, so I listen to a lot of different Star Wars podcasts because I'm a fucking geek and I love Star Wars. And I heard this Cameron, the Avatar guy, James Cameron?
James.
He was doing a sci-fi series discussion, and George Lucas came up because of Star Wars, of course. And he was discussing the original idea for what the sequel trilogy would truly be about. Buckle yourselves in, people. This is going to be a conversation. So George Lucas says the next 3 Star Wars films are going to get into a microbiotic world. But there's this world of creatures that operate differently than we do. I call them the Wills. And the Wills are the ones who actually control the universe. They feed off of the Force. If he'd held on to the company, George would have done it, and then it would have been done. Weird way of saying it. But essentially, he's saying that people would not have liked it. The way that they reacted to the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, they would not have liked this in the sequel trilogy because it would have been a little bit deeper dive. And on the surface, for weeks, I've been thinking about this, and I've been like, that sounds fucking retarded. Like, I do not want this at all. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I started thinking about Episode 4, when Obi-Wan Kenobi is talking to Luke Skywalker and saying, you need to clear your mind and give in to the will of the Force. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, individuals, Jedi or Sith, do not use the Force. The Force uses them. They're surrendering their control. They're giving in to the will of the Force. It is the Force that is using them as proxies to have their will be done. From the very beginning, that's how it was. The more potent you are in the Force, the more susceptible you are to the wills controlling you with the Force. So it's not that you as an individual are more powerful. It's that you're weaker to the will of the Force exerting itself through you. And this blew my fucking mind.
Dude, I'm fucking
explored that idea. What if the sequel trilogy was really Luke Skywalker realizing that the Jedi were being completely manipulated by the will of the Force, just trying to maintain some weird skewed balance, that it wasn't the Jedi that had to end, That in fact, it was the individuals that had to separate themselves from the Force in order to control it, or to break away from the Force, because the Force was ruining the galaxy. What if the Force was the bad guy? Like, this was their will exerting itself in such negative ways because they were just trying to manipulate creatures. Like, there's so many possibilities that just blow my mind. What ifs, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to get my hands on the screenplay.
Oh, dude.
Because he wrote it. He did write it.
Yeah.
And Disney was like, where's that guy that did Fringe? Let's get him in here.
We're going nostalgia. I mean, that sounded derogatory to Fringe, and I loved Fringe. So
Yeah, Fringe is...
I need to state that out front. But, man, it makes us look at... The original trilogy sets up the Force as you're giving into it. Yoda says it. Obi-Wan says it. Luke does it, and he does these amazing things. You go to the prequels, and you discover the tragedy of Darth Vader, who does give in to the will of the Force, albeit the dark side of the Force, but regardless, he gives in to the Force. So this isn't a struggle of darkness and light in characters. This is a struggle of darkness and light in the wills.
Yeah.
And the characters are the proxies of the wills. What if the sequel explored that a little bit deeper? And then you had characters like Rey, who were giving in to the will of the Force and becoming so incredibly powerful, being able to do all these wonderful things that she can do in the movies, and Kylo Ren doing the exact same thing. And what if they just said, you know what? We realize that this isn't the way. This is what people have been doing for thousands of years, having the same battle over the same thing. We're cutting ourselves off. What if Luke had it right the whole fucking time? Like, there's just... God damn it! There's so many ways I would love to.
Well, my God, and I didn't even think about it, but like, you've read the extended edition of The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck that opening sequence. That makes so much more sense. Like, the
They were
Force
trying
being
to
like,
convince
"Hey,
him.
come on, come back, guy, come back."
Yeah,
Fuck,
showing
that
a donkey a fucking carrot.
Damn.
No, don't. You need to come back. You need to finish
Yeah,
what we want you to
holy
finish.
shit.
Not about what you want as an individual, but because you're so in tune with who and what we are, we want to manipulate you. You have the gift. We need to use you. Like, it completely changes the entire skew of things.
Yeah, that... Jesus Christ. Yeah, that completely changed how I thought of that intro. Man,
I just loved it so much. I love the idea of give in to the will of the Force. And then George Lucas saying we were going to get in to the will of the Force, and realizing that it was another entity, the wills, that feed off of the Force, that use Force wielders. And if that's... And I'm all... As much as I have problems with portions of the prequels, or even some aspects of the original trilogy, though not as many, mainly with the special editions, to be honest. I like seeing a author's vision realized.
Yeah, God.
Whether I enjoy the outcome or not, I always love to see it. And I've done it with fantasy novels, and I've done it like with TV series, and I want to see this. Like, and if it's not a sight unseen, on big screen, like you mentioned, I want to see a screenplay treatment. Like, I want to know his vision realized. He started it. He expanded it. I want to see what he would have done. And Disney doesn't have to continue doing it. That's fine. But just let me, as a fan of this series that he created, see his final.
What I would love to see is them do a Marvel treatment of it, like Dark Horse did with the original idea of Star Wars. Like, just give us a 6 episodic book that explains the screenplay, and I'd be happy.
That would be awesome. Oh, God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we'll never get it because, Disney shut that shit down real fast.
Yeah.
But, oh, God. Well, and it's crazy, too, with the amount... So
you're saying...
Yeah, I'm a completionist. I just need to see it. When something exists, I need it.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be terrible. Again, it could be terrible. But I just want... he started it. He expanded it. I want to see his vision realized, especially now that... he had 3 movies that he had to flesh this idea out with. So the first movie would have been the discovery that, yes, the wills do exist. They are controlling mankind or the universe, the galaxy, as it were, through the Force. They're manipulating it through the Force. The second one would be exploring how you can break away from that as a Force wielder and use the Force to your advantage without the wills influencing you. And the third one would have been the final combat, whether, who wins, whatever it is. I want...
Yeah,
the more I think
so
about it, the more I want it. Like, it drives me crazy. And so on the surface, it sounds so fucking stupid. They get into a microbiotic world. But I'm coming off of just seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp yesterday evening. Yeah. And that's not the quantum realm idea, or the microbiotic realm of influence is not an unknown in our life. Like, that is a reality that we have to face. Like, whether we acknowledge it or not, it happens. And so it would be nice to see that explored. Like, I love that idea. I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but I really want to.
It doesn't matter. That's how important it is. That is funny. I wanted to come in on this just talking mad shit. Like, I mean, God, we were before we even got started, but damn, the more that we're talking about this, like, I need to see that in some way, shape, or form.
And they feed off of the Force, the wills. So the original idea of the wills was it was going to be this series of monks or this species or something that had witnessed this Skywalker trilogy and is reporting to the audience what they witnessed. That was what the wills, it was the book of the wills. That was what it was supposed to be about. And he changed it in the prequel trilogy when you started introducing these microbiotic things called midichlorians, which gave you greater control of or influence from the Force. Like, it's already there. Like, I just want to see more. This drives, and if the wills are now, instead of reporting what happened, if they are the reason it unfolded the way it did, if they were the manipulators of these characters, of these tragedies that these characters experienced, why husband killed wife and estranged his children, like, why the Sith were able to rise, and is that where the Sith get their power? Are they connected to the wills? If they're feeding off of the Force, is the dark side of the Force feeding off the Force like the wills are? Or are they also, like the Jedi, just sort of patsies for the wills to exert their will?
Yeah, well, it's crazy. It changes the narrative from just being like a passive entity that helps you manipulate, the real world, and almost gives it like they're Olympian gods, essentially. Like, holy shit, that's completely different perspective.
And it's interesting because everything is about surrendering yourself to the Force, whether it's through your passions or through your selflessness. You always have to surrender your sense of self, your ego, your desires, your dreams. And in case of the Sith, you're going to want to use those desires and dreams to fuel your rage and then tap into it. I love this idea that they are vampires. And I'm using the word vampire. George Lucas just said they feed off the Force, the wills. That they're actually, the more it's used, the more you have these people using and abusing the Force, as it were, whether for good or ill, they get more influence, they get more power. Like, what if the next big bad guy was literally the wills? Like, that's an exciting idea. Awesome. Like, what we were introduced in the Clone Wars to some really bizarre things that George was expanding on. The idea of connecting with the Force through Yoda, understanding, Qui-Gon Jinn is teaching him how to connect with the 5 aspects of the Force so that he can manifest himself through the Force after he dies and commune with him through the Force. Is that the will of the Force, or are they breaking that wall the wills are trying to prevent? Are they then working with the wills, or are they going against the wills by manifesting themselves? And is that why it's so difficult for the Sith to be able to do that? And they have to do it through artifacts or something because they're going against the will of the Force. Like, there's just so many possibilities that is so exciting to me. Oh, man. And I would love to see Luke Skywalker be the hero again, and just kick some fucking ass against the wills. Or instruct in the next generation, whether it's you know, Finn and Poe and Rey or whatever. I don't even care. I want to see the wills realized in the original vision, and whether it was original in the time or original as in him handing manuscripts to Disney upon being purchased. I don't even care. That was his vision of what he wanted to see happen. It's just an interesting concept. And it's not so foreign because, and I spoke about this just a second ago. I don't want to delve too deeply into it, but in the quantum mechanics, if you observe quantum particles, they change their behavior. So there is no, the entire process of science is observing effects and determining results based on observation. That is how we determine success in science and form our laws of science. Quantum mechanics, you can have particles that exist simultaneously, the exact same particle simultaneously existing in different space-time areas. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's no logical aspect to that. I would love to see that explored with the Force. Like, is that why you can manipulate reality? Because you're using quantum. And again, you know, sometimes you get too deep into it and you ruin the magic of it, but I don't know.
No, I with something like this, I don't think you do, to be honest. Because, I mean, shit, just the thought of that, I mean, it makes so much sense, like how, you know, Jedi know how, you know, when to move or whatever. I mean, it was always sort of discussed in the Legends books that they were literally force walk, like they could see into the future, and that would like explain completely how they were able to see into the future, not just that they did.
Yeah.
Complete mindfuck.
This story, I gotta think about this longer. This is gonna drive me nuts, and to know that we're never gonna see it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers. All right, let's move on to our last story of the night. If I can figure out how to do this.
This is a fun one.
So this is a Comic-Con cover exclusive of the book Thrawn Alliances, which is going to be out July 24th, very soon. I'm definitely going to get up. Did you read the first Thrawn novel?
Hell yeah.
I take it you liked it?
Fuck yeah. It was Timothy Zahn coming back for Thrawn. I mean, what wasn't there to love?
Recreating Thrawn's story in the new canon. I absolutely adored it, and I loved that connection when, in the original book Thrawn, he is speaking to Darth Sidious, or Emperor Palpatine at the time, and he says something about you're going to be assisted by Darth Vader or something like that. And Thrawn makes the connection between Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, like, oh, Skywalker, I've worked with him before, or I've seen him before in the Clone Wars. And it was just a one-liner. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa! Like, what? When did this happen? This wasn't in the Clone Wars TV shows. This is something different. This is something new. And then this book is going to explain that. And there's a little excerpt. I can't speak tonight. Released with this special cover. This is the actual normal cover that's going to be released with the book. Giving a small sampling of sort of personalities, you know, the way the way Anakin interprets foes or adversaries or just someone strange and different, and then Thrawn explaining who he is. And what I really loved about this excerpt is when Anakin reaches out through the Force to see into Thrawn's mind. And then Thrawn's like just matter-of-factly saying, "Oh, I'm from this place, part of the Chiss Ascendancy." Like there was no question at that point. Like, who? Like, who are you? Where are you from? So it just assumed that Anakin was aware of that. But then when later, of course, in the original Thrawn book, when Thrawn is introduced to the Palpatine for the first time, it does seem like he's not aware of the Chiss Ascendancy at all. At least that's the way I interpreted it. So it's weird that they would make it so Anakin doesn't even question, like, who the fuck, where are you from? You're completely different than anyone I've ever seen. You're from, you know, whatever, but he's okay with it in this moment. And then, you know, Palpatine was like, I'm going to manipulate this guy. And Thrawn was like, I'm going to manipulate this guy. And I don't know. That struck me as odd. So I mean, it's with something like that, it's all about context. Yeah. Because, we don't know what Anakin's doing out there. Yeah. We know what Thrawn's doing because Thrawn was
he straight up said he's working on the Expanse and trying to find out about the war that's going on and trying to basically avoid it coming to his territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I'm so excited.
It is interesting because it puts him in the position of a scout for this organization. And the original Thrawn novel really set him up as he's rejected. The story that he gives, I'm not sure I buy it, is that he's rejected from his people because he wanted to strike first in some of these cases. There's this greater threat lurking in the wilds of space. I want to know if this is if they have to team up now as Darth Vader and Admiral Thrawn in order to deal with this greater threat. But more to the point, is this before Thrawn is taken during Rebels or after?
I think it's going to be sort of almost like a Stephen King way of writing, where it's going to be flipping back and forth from origins to present and everything in between.
But do you think the present is going to be after Rebels or before it?
I don't know. It was I could have swore it was always Admiral.
It could have been. It was the novel that came out during Rebels.
The novel was like right before Rebels.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Okay, so this could be right before Rebels. This could be completely after it, and we learn something new about like what happened to Thrawn. The novel Thrawn really set up a lot of stuff that I'm dying to know about. The Chiss Ascendancy, for one. I couldn't help. This is to show you how much of a geek I am. When they were describing, or when he was describing how he was kicked out because he was wanting to preemptively strike this supposed threat, I kept thinking of like Superman, the original Superman, when Zod. I can't help it. I immediately went to Superman. And so like this idea that this creature wants to take over this country or this planet or these peoples because he sees a greater threat that no one else seems to see, and then he's ostracized for that. Like I totally saw a General Zod type character in that. I was like, huh, okay.
Never made that connection, but yeah, holy shit.
It's weird. So now I want to know, like, I want to know about Krypton. I want to know about the Chiss Ascendancy. Like, I want to know if there's a Superman character that's going to come out that's sort of like, the fucking Superman to Zod. Like, I'm the good guy for the Chiss Ascendancy. You're the bad guy for if that was even a true statement. It could have been a total manufactured lie. He's actually really is working for the Chiss Ascendancy, trying to get good graces with this threat that's expanding its territory. Like, who knows?
I don't know. I kind of buy it just because he did take a lot of stuff from at least origins of Thrawn from the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So I don't know. I mean, that would be cool if he was just pretty much a double agent, but I don't know. We'll see.
That's totally what I took from the first novel, is that it was like up in the air for me. I was like, I'm not sure if he's really for this. Like Star Wars Rebels, I don't see as much of a connection with him from the Bendu. And his entire forces were fucked up by the Bendu. That really made Thrawn look like a punk to me, which kind of ruined the idea of what Thrawn always was.
Yeah, and him acting out, like striking out in anger. It's like, no, that's not Thrawn. God damn it.
So that kind of bugged me, but whatever. That's a cartoon. As long as the novels do him justice, then I'm just as happy as I always have been. I kind of do want to see, and this goes back to the old days. I want to see him be massively powerful and influential, reach out to the Chiss Ascendancy and say, look, if he's a double agent, I have a position of power now. I can influence this empire. You tell me what you want. What if he's part of the downfall of the empire? Like, I mean, there's so much we don't know about once the remnants of the empire go into the outer regions. What happens? We know nothing about that. We just know that after the Battle of Jakku, the remnants there left and met up with an established outpost. And that was it. And then we know that Snoke came out from the New Order. So something happened in the Outer Realm, and that is the Chiss Ascendancy sort of, that's their space. That's where they come from.
Yeah, they're from wild space.
Yeah, if he's not a double agent, I want to know what type of entanglements he comes into when he goes out into the, you know, when in Star Wars Rebels, when he's taken out into the middle of nowhere, where they go, what happens, does he have influence in the space that he's taken to? Like, there's just so many ifs and just up in the air ideas about this character and how he's going to get out of that situation. Man, I can't wait for this book.
Yeah, me either. I'm dying.
God damn, it's gonna be good. All right, I think that was it for the show, right?
I think we covered everything.
All right. I love doing this, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I need
so much. I need like a good hour to sit in here by myself and just compress everything. Just consider it and compress it. 'Cause damn.
There's just so many possibilities with Thrawn, and there's so many possibilities with the Wills.
Yeah.
And to know that we have a cartoon on the horizon, Resistance, and we have the final movie coming out next Christmas or whatever of the sequel trilogy that's supposed to be tying in the entire saga of the Skywalker saga. That, man, there's just so much to speculate on, so much to talk about, so much exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. I think we're just going to be ravenously feeding off of any tiny news tidbits.
Pretty much.
Having to come out. Oh, my gosh. But on the other hand, I'm looking forward to whenever Solo comes out so I can watch that over and over again.
Oh yeah. I've been having a hard time not going to see it again in theaters.
I still want to see that blog and those pictures of you.
Yeah,
going to Millennium Falcon.
I've been busy. I will get it up though. God damn it! Just like I'll finish the Facebook page at some point.
Yeah, eventually we'll have a Facebook page, people.
Yeah. Apparently it's not private right now, so you can at least go look at it.
So it's there. Yeah, so you could like it.
It's there. I apparently didn't hit save when I changed it to private, so I could work on it. Yeah.
So go to the unfinished page and like it. Damn it.
Yes, hell yeah, because you'll totally not see shit there yet.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. You should check us out. We're now available on iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher and Blurby and wherever you get audio podcasts. If you don't want to check out the live show, though I don't know why you wouldn't, because we're beautiful.
True.
So.
And shiny.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, you should probably send us I'm a Scruffy Looking Nerf Herder video. Yeah, we already talked about it, but I'll say it again. Record it, send it to the Infernal Brotherhood at gmail.com, or call the number that I don't remember that Adam will give you.
1-801-899-6168. It's on our website, theinfernalbrotherhood.com.
Oh, yes, and we got a website.
Yeah. So check that out. Thank you all so much for joining us, and until we can chat about Star Wars and geekdom and midi-chlorians again, may the Force be with you.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I do too. Princess Moon.